So we're coming on live. Awesome.
Hello,
Hey, hi, folks. It looks like we are live. And welcome to Conscious Crypto Traders. I'm Nicola, and I'm joined here with
Teresa. So nice to meet you.
awesome. Hey, we have another action-packed live stream. Before we get into it, we're going to go over Ethereum, Bitcoin, XRP, ADA, and we look at the general market analysis. Before we do that, though, we just wanted to talk about how we're moving the time of our live stream. And we said we're moving it to 11:30. Is that right? 11:30 US Mountain Time, which
Yeah,
is 1:30 Eastern Time.
because we know more of you are online at that time. So we want to make
Yeah.
sure we hit the sweet spot for when the most people can watch.
Absolutely. And we're doing well with subscriptions as well. So thank you so much for those of you who have subscribed. What our channel is about, for those of you who are new, is it's a tutorial channel. We're teaching technical analysis of trading with cryptocurrency. We do scenario trading. So you want to talk about that, Teresa, what scenario trading is all about?
Yeah, basically, there are different scenarios that might affect the price action. Like when Elon Musk puts out a tweet, we know it's going to pump or dump the market, right? But things like Mercury retrograde affects the price of Bitcoin. So we dive in and look at some of the specific scenarios that you need to be aware of that could be affecting the price action.
Yeah, I need to unpin myself too, so when you speak, you show up, Teresa. Yeah, and we also have a playlist that is on specifically on trading strategies, and learning technical analysis, whether you're spot trading or whether you're doing leverage margin trading, and mindset, which is really important to us. We have a whole section on mindset. So be sure to explore our playlists and our channels, because there is a lot of content on there already that can help you become a profitable trader. So today we're going to kick off with just a general talk about, like, is Ethereum going to start leading the pack? Because traditionally Ethereum and Bitcoin have gone hand in hand, but with Bitcoin as the leader. But I'm in front of an Ethereum chart right now, and as you can see, Ethereum's taken off. Look at that, Teresa, it's still going.
Go. Woohoo!
And then it started 1, 2, 3, 4 candles ago. We started this uphill climb out of what is essentially a bearish pattern, which is a continuation pattern of the symmetrical triangle coming in from the downside. And we did a bit of a fake out, looking like, wow, we are going to go down and reach the target down here, but we didn't. We came up here. Now, if we have a look at Bitcoin, Bitcoin didn't start ascending until 3 candles back, right? 1, 2, 3. So in this instance, Ethereum is going to lead the pack. So we're going to be talking about that as well. And we're going to be talking about divergences, bearish and bullish divergences, and what you need to look out for. So let's start off with the general market analysis. Would you say is bullish or bearish, Teresa?
God, that's a tough one to call, because, we've been coming down from the recent high, and Bitcoin's like hovering around such a key support area. That area has represented support resistance for days now in the charts. So I think the whole market's poised to see, is this, we had a little bit of a fake down, but then it came back up. Now everybody's wondering, is this a fake up? And it's going to come back down into the pattern. I think everybody's poised, holding their breath for Bitcoin to do a decisive move one direction or the other. So I'd say in this moment, anybody's call.
Yeah, absolutely. And oh, look at that. My alarm's just gone off. So that's usually an alarm to set to say a trade might be coming in. So if we have a look at Bitcoin on the daily, we can see a nice W pattern here, which is traditionally speaking a double bottom or a trend reversal indication. That it's on the daily is, is spectacular. And as Teresa said, we're coming down, we're trading down around here in this key level of support that we keep hitting at around 34.4, and we've come down quite a few times to the even lower end. But we've been trading within this sideways channel since the big dip on the 19th of May. we've got all of this resistance above us with the EMA. So
I didn't get that. Could you try again?
Siri, I never called upon you, my darling. So I am turning Siri off. Yeah, so
AI is just a little too intelligent.
yeah. Well, it's the joy of doing something live, isn't it? Siri can come in and say, I want to be part of the party. We've got a W on the RSI as well too. So like if I was looking at this, I would say we're in a consolidation. Like I wouldn't commit to say we're headed back into a bull run or we're going further down. I would say we are in consolidation on the daily. But we have bullish signs.
We're going to see a big move in the next 12 hours. It's just, you know, this is one of those situations where if it breaks up, we're going to trade up. If it breaks down, we're going to trade down. We got to see which way the market's moving first.
Exactly. And the W is pointing towards it potentially being an upward move. So let's have a look at what that W looks like on the 4 hourly. Is it the 4 hourly? Yeah, there it is there. Right, and then we actually broke down on my other chart. Like we've had some requests that nobody likes my purple background, and I, being a visionary, I need to have lots of lines everywhere to see what the heck's going on. So if I come over here onto the chart on the 4 hourly, on my chart with all of my lines and my purple background, I can read it a little bit better. Look at that. You can see that W right there. Boom. Hitting that blue neckline up, coming down, and then coming up to here. So then you could argue that we broke out with a bit of a fake out and then we came back down, and now I need to move that up because that's not quite the neckline. And now we are looking like we're getting ready to break above the neckline. So this W at the moment is looking like it's going to break out. And if you see this downward channel we're in, we've even broken out of that downward channel, which is a bullish sign, and we're heading up there to that neckline. If we break above that and confirm that breakout, we're going to 42,000. So we're going back up to the top here. So if you were looking at putting in a trade, you want to make sure that we break above the neckline of the W and we've confirmed it as support, and then we're moving away from that with momentum down here in the volume and the trading, and then moving upwards away from your entry point, so that we're not going to get a rollover and your trade turns south. So do you want to talk about bullish and bearish divergences that are showing up? And
sure, let me share my screen. Okay, so let's talk about divergences, because divergences can be one of the most important indicators that really help you confirm a trade, really help you get prepared for which direction the market might be breaking. One of the things Jeroen van Lange talks about a lot on his channel, The Blockchain Today, is divergences. And Jeroen was actually one of the YouTubers that really helped me to fall in love with divergences as a trading signal. So I want to give him a shout out right now, because although I've always watched divergences in my trading, I think he really got me present to how powerful they are as an indicator. So the key thing to remember when you're talking about divergences is whatever time frame the divergence is playing out on is likely the same time frame that you're going to see the trend reversal in. Okay. So anytime we see a divergence in the lows, we know that's a bearish. So like here's an example right here. We're looking at the hourly time frame for Bitcoin right now. We have a slightly higher high trend coming in here. Actually, if we take this all the way back to here though, you know, from this low here to this low here, right? We clearly have higher lows, but on the stochastic RSI and on the regular RSI, we have a strong trend toward lower lows, right? And you can map divergences on both the RSI and the stochastic. In fact, I like to, when I'm looking for divergences, have both of these open, because sometimes there'll be a divergence on one and not on the other, or sometimes they disagree with each other. But when you see the same divergence on both, you know that's a really strong indicator, right? So if you look at the highs, however, right, we're seeing higher highs. This is, you know, more or less a higher high. It's weak. So there's no divergence in the highs, but there is a divergence in the lows. So if the divergence was in the highs, that would be a bearish indicator. This is a bullish indicator, right? So we have seen some bullish action already play out here. So sometimes the divergence just means you're going to get a short pump up, right? Because this is only on the hourly. Although I would guess from a divergence this strong that we're probably going to see more upward action before anything turns around here, right? If you're looking on a longer time frame, though, there is a huge divergence we've been following that, you know, goes all the way back to January. So people were first picking it up in the charts come February 20th, when these two highs, if you look at, there was a downward trending slope, but we had higher highs here and lower highs here. So as early as February, a lot of us on YouTube.
Can I just stop you there?
Yeah.
I just stop you there because you were waving your mouse around the bottom when you were meaning the top. So can you go up to the top? You've got higher highs in the price action and lower highs in
lower
the
highs in
RSI, which is a bearish divergence, right?
Yeah, so this is a bearish divergence. So as early as February 20th, you'll see this peak happen on February 20th back here. A lot of YouTubers were starting to talk about this because we were starting to see signs of a bearish correction, and look what played out, right? Now, because we're seeing this on the daily, see this is a daily chart, then you would expect a much bigger correction. It's going to play out on a daily time horizon, right? And we continue to see this divergence happening, right? See lower high, weekly higher high, right? But at this point here, this divergence ended, and now we're getting lower lows on the charts and lower lows in the RSI, but the trend line on the RSI has continued, okay? And you can map trend lines onto the RSI. You can also map them onto the stochastic, right? So this is interesting because when you have a trend line mapping in the RSI like this, when this breaks, the market's probably going to break quite hard. So we could see a pretty significant trend reversal when this breaks. But at this time, see, the dominant direction on the daily has been downwards in the lows, and now we're going upwards in the lows on the RSI, right? So at this point, because the divergence is in the lows here, higher lows on the RSI, lower lows on the chart, now we're actually seeing what's called a bullish divergence. And on the daily time horizon, it's likely that anytime soon the market's going to start breaking up. And if this trend line breaks here, it could break up quite hard. So a lot of people are using this as an indication of this sideways movement that we've been seeing so much of in Bitcoin that, you know, goes all the way back to May 19th, right? When, you know, we first got that big dump down, and then the market's been somewhat consolidating sideways since then on a fairly big pattern, but nonetheless consolidating sideways. We could be coming to the end of that. So when we break out of this pattern, especially if we break up on the RSI, the market's very likely to break up. So sometimes we even see divergences on really tight time frames. Like here's one right now on the 15-minute, right? So in the stochastic RSI, we've got a lower high to a higher high. Same with the regular RSI.
You mean a higher high? Can you just be a bit more specific? That's
sorry,
a higher
yeah. See,
high.
Here's a lower high here moving into a higher high on the stochastic. Can you see that? So this high is higher than this high.
Yeah.
It's same with on the regular relative strength index. This high is lower than this high, whereas in the charts, that same high is in fact higher to lower, right? Which is at this point here. So now we're seeing a pump up, which could be changing what we see in terms of this high, right? But on the short-term time horizon, that could be considered a bullish indicator. This, though, when you're looking at a divergence like this on a very tight time frame, it's likely to play out on a tight time frame. Sometimes you just get a very minor correction, and then you can consider that divergence to have played out, right?
Yeah.
But
the divergence is a more part of the upwards and downwards motion rather than the longer term trend. Yeah.
Yeah, so there might be no divergence here at all if this peak comes higher than this peak, right? So then you could just say, oh, well, the line was in the wrong place and we're up. But at the moment, because these are both turning around, it looks like a divergence, right? So the point here being, when you're seeing divergences on the tight time frame, they don't always mean so much. They can play out quickly, they can change quickly. Like you'll see, just as we were sitting here speaking, this one changed, right? It just changed in the last minute or two. But on the longer term time horizon, they're a lot more meaningful, and we tend to see much bigger market corrections from them.
Yeah, it's fair to say that on the smaller time frame, which you're calling a tight time frame, on the lower minute time frame, the divergences are almost playing out within that time frame, like within 15 minutes or two increments of 15 minutes or something like that. So that's really helpful to look at moving stop losses, or if you're looking for entry points, waiting for a better entry to see, to see how it plays out. Whereas if it's on the daily or the 4 hourly, it's going to be more meaningful as a trend reversal, right?
Yeah. Well, and they can also be used as a confirmation of whether you're entering the correct trade. So if you're entering along and you see divergences in the chart that suggest it should be short, then that's a good indicator that maybe you should wait this trade out and just have a little patience. So I generally don't enter trades strictly on the basis of a divergence, but they're a great confirmation indicator.
Yeah, definitely. And we've got a W here, and this looks really awesome. Now, here's the other thing that we have here, and I think I'll go over to this chart here on the 1 hour. Can anybody see it? Let me just get the candles up. Who can see it? Who can see the pattern that's playing out here?
Yeah, nice big W.
Yeah, but also look, cup and handle, and we've broken out. We've come back and retested it as support, and we've bounced off. So you could, if all of the indicators were cool and you were happy with everything else, this you could put in along just when we get above the EMA ribbon, so we are above the resistance. I personally would wait until we're actually above the neckline, because here's the neckline here. Let's have a look at what that is. That's the neckline there. Oh, so we are above it, but we're in resistance right now. So I would wait for it to clear here at around maybe 35,200. If you wanted to be a bit more conservative, you would come in as if with the price action came above to 36,750 or something like that, because with volume coming in and the RSI with plenty of room to move up is an indication that momentum is pushing the price up, and we're not going to get a reversal. And we already know that the breakout from the W is going to take us to 42. So let's see if there's going to be some profit we can take along the way. And that cup and handles takes us to 39,473. So you might want to take some profit there. But that's beautiful. Let's go and have a look on the 1 hourly. Yeah, see, we haven't broken the neckline of the W, even though we've broken the neckline of the cup and handle. I would personally wait till we got above this with a clear breakout, and then enter along, just in case we come up and hit this neckline and then reverse back down. And then this is now acting as resistance instead of support. But it is looking pretty bullish. I mean, we're breaking out of a downward channel. We're breaking out of a cup and handles. We've broken out, and now we're confirming the breakout rather. And now we're looking like we're breaking out of a W pattern. And we have a bullish divergence on the stochastic as well as the normal RSI. Is that right, Teresa?
Yeah, exactly. I think as long as we stay above that key support line, like, break it, reconfirm it, stay above it, then we're looking at a lot of bullish indicators in the market. But that one support line that has been holding either as resistance or support now for, weeks in the market, we're hovering at it right now. So I think that's why we're seeing so little volume in the market, because everybody's sort of poised, taking that deep breath. I think as soon as we see clear directional indication with volume, that's the thing everybody's waiting for, right? As soon as the volume comes in, everybody's going to know what direction to trade. But, you know, although I'm not entering into a trade until I see the volume, I'd be betting on bullish in this moment. But that said, I stand to be proven wrong. We'll see which way the volume's heading.
Exactly. I think volume is going to be really important here because, as we've seen so often, you get into a short or you get into a long, the volume isn't there, and then there's a reversal, and then you get stopped out and you lose money or you lose crypto. So I've got a note little here, a 4-hour close of a candle above 36,100 is bullish. So I always kind of like write my little notes here so I remember. And we've got a key level of support here of 33,500, and we're over 1,000 above that at the moment. But that's the trade here would be the cup and handles and or the W, right? And we're waiting for confirmation above the neckline here before entering. So
and we've just bounced off the bottom of the Ichimoku cloud, so that's pretty strong signal too. If we're not breaking through the cloud in this moment. So. No,
yeah, we just got rejected in the red Ichimoku cloud is resistance, and so we're finding resistance here. And we've actually got, and on the actual impulse itself, I did the fib lines for the impulse, and I think that's the golden pocket. Yes, it is. Look at that. I always do my fib lines, the golden ratio at 6.1 or 0.61. I do it in yellow so I can see where the golden ratios are, and it's getting rejected right off of that. So this is another reason to be patient, right? And Ichimoku is showing a decline. Yeah. So we want to get above all of that resistance, and then we know that we're good to trade. So here's where Ethereum is more bullish. Look at that! That we had a what do you call this? No, actually, let me go over to the bigger time frame on the cleaner chart here that I have done just for you guys who don't like my purple backgrounds. This I want to go on to the daily. Always zoom out, like when in doubt, zoom out. Where are we? What's going on? What's the trend? And by the way, guys, we'd appreciate your support and liking what we're doing, like the video. And if you haven't subscribed and you want free tutorials on learning technical analysis as well as getting market updates and technical analysis updates, you want to subscribe as well. So this is Ethereum, and like when you're drawing your trend lines, I just draw them all over the place to see if I can see patterns, because sometimes patterns will emerge that you didn't see if you don't do it. And all this is telling me is that we've bottomed out here. Look at this, pretty much came down here. So this is a little bit more of a clear indication that we are going up. We've got this triangle here, symmetrical triangle that we came out of. We came back to retest it. We've come back down, and now we're moving back up, and we're hitting resistance inside of the EMA. So even though we've had this big rally, we've started to slow down now that we're in that cloud of resistance in the EMAs. So if we look at the 4-hour, we have a W. Can anybody see that? Right. So similar to Bitcoin, we have a W, but it is more advanced. And this is where we're talking about, is Ethereum going to emerge as the leader of the market? Because normally Bitcoin will make its move and Ethereum will follow a few hours later, right? And what's been happening is Ethereum is making the move and Bitcoin is following. And this is a classic example. Ethereum has created its W. It's broken out of the W. It's come back down to retest the neckline as support, and it's bounced off, and it's gone here. It's gone above the breakout. So in classic conservative TA, you would put in a long here if you had volume and if the RSI had room to breathe. And we don't have either of those yet. But what we're seeing more and more, Teresa, as we've talked about, often it just goes slowly up anyway, and you miss out on the trade because you were waiting for the volume. So this is the risk reward thing that you've got to weigh up, because this is a big trade, right?
Yeah, nice big trade. And, I think though, this has been a heartbreak market, right? We wanted the big mainstream guys to come in because we wanted the legitimacy that it gives to Bitcoin and Ethereum and all the altcoins. And now they're here. It's kind of like the bullies have entered the playground, and we're seeing a lot more wicks, a lot more fake outs, a lot more volatility in the market. It's a harder market to trade. So personally, I think the traders who are the most patient and wait for the really, really clear indicators, and wait for the volume and wait till everything's pointing in the right direction, are actually going to be the ones that walk away with the most money here. Because it's just, so easy to move your stop loss up too quick and get stopped out, or, think you've got a winning trade on your hands and it just suddenly turns around. So, I think, what's the expression? Discretion is the better part of valor. This is a market to remember that in. So if you're not feeling super good about the trade, you could be making a lot more profit by sitting that trade out.
Yeah, and just holding on to your capital for the bigger moves. But this is a big move, and this is looking really good. We'll go down onto the 1 hour and see what we're looking like. So here, the entry would be pretty much now 22.49, and the it's 2,500 is the first target. However, there is another target that's higher than that. Oops, hang on a second. That's the wrong one. Long position. Here we go. You put your stop loss. Since we've already confirmed this as the neckline of the W as support, we could bring a tighter stop loss up, maybe 3.6, or let's say 4, right? And then that gives us a 2.95. Ideally, you want a 3. So this does have some kind of a risk to it. But let's go and have a look at what's going on the 1 hour to see if we can't get more confirmation. Because look at this. The RSI is traveling pretty much towards the top here, right? So there's not a lot of room. But what we've noticed with Ethereum is look at what's happened over the last day, 4 days now. We traveled at the top and we didn't come back down significantly. We just kept traveling along the top. So this is why this is a really difficult market. Oh, look, volume has come in. So this is a good time to look at that. You've got the volume.
Something to remember though, when you've just had a breakout like that, but it's in the middle of a really big pattern, often the price will stop and create a bull flag in the middle of the pattern.
Yeah.
And you can see like the momentum's stalled here, right? Like the price is not moving. It's been sitting at 22.20, give or take, for the last little while. So there's good odds it's going to pause and create a bull flag. Yeah. Right. So, good point to enter a trade, but it doesn't mean you got to market enter and get in now. I would look at these short-term indicators because there could be lots of indication that the market will come down somewhat, even though you're in a significant breakout and it's likely still going up. So, this is where learning a little bit about scalping techniques and really nailing good entry techniques can really, really help. This is where I would be looking at the 1 minute time horizon and the 3 minute time horizon to see if there's a better entry point coming up if I were entering this trade.
Yeah, exactly. I was just going to put in the Ichimoku cloud so that we can see what's going on there. And look, we've got a nice incline. So exactly what Teresa said, this could be the pole of a bear flag, which means we may see a retracement down to create the actual flag. And how far is that retracement going to be? And so let's now go from 1 hour. I usually go to the 15-minute to see if it looks like we might get a flagpole, but we haven't. Look, and we're way over bought here on the RSI. So then I will go to the 3 minute, and I will see that in the next 3, 6, 9, 12, in the next 15 minutes, whenever you see the Ichimoku cloud go straight across like that, with a sharp incline, we can often see a little bit of a retracement. We might retrace back down here to the to the EMA rather, or to the 100-day moving average at 21.56. So this is a tricky one to decide whether or not you're going to jump in, right? I personally would wait for the next hour candle, maybe even the next 2 hour candles, two 1 hour candles, to see if we are creating a bull flag, because if we are, you could get a better position at a lower entry point, or wait for the breakout, in which case you've got a confirmed position. Because look at that, we're finding resistance at 2270. Look, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 minute candles, not being able to break that. So something's going on here. So absolutely, we wait and see what happens. But there is a trade coming up here that you want to monitor. Any questions? Happy to answer them. We are a new channel, and we have a very nice loyal following that tends to give us private messages, but we would also love to see some public ones so that we can share some of the answers with all of our subscribers. And always like. I think we've got lots of likes. We've almost got 100% likes. I wonder if 4 more people could click the like button, because we're awesome and we're giving free tutorials here, and then that will give us 100% like. That would really help us out with the channel. So the bottom line with Ethereum is we've got a W on the 4 hour, we've got a W on the 1 hour, and we're now just waiting to see if this becomes a bull flag to find an entry point. And we want to be looking at the lower time frames to get a good entry once we have a clear breakout. I personally would be following the 4 hour, because this is a big trade on the 4 hour. I would want to get above this red Ichimoku cloud, and so see how we've got the decline here. That could mean that the price could go back down, and this isn't a bull flag, it's just a bit of a retracement, in which case when it goes back up again, you've got a better entry point. So where we're at with Ethereum right now is we're waiting for a better entry point. Does that make sense, Teresa? That's kind of what you were hinting at, yeah?
Yeah, I mean, at this point, we know the momentum of the market has stalled at the top of this breakout. So if you didn't get in during the breakout when you saw the volume coming up, I would just wait a few minutes, because sometimes these, even though it is a bull flag, sometimes you see a bull flag retrace sideways for 6-7 hours.
Or a day or two, right?
Yeah, like sometimes it just goes sideways for a while and then it continues on, right? So I would just wait and watch. That would be my strategy right now, and I'd start looking at the shorter term time horizons for what we might see, because when it's lost its momentum like this, the trade is probably still valid, but there also is probably a better entry point if you still want to get back into the trade.
Exactly. And look at what we've got here. We've got higher lows down here on the RSI, and we've got lower lows on the price action. So we do have a divergence here. And this is on the 4 hours. So within the next 4 to 8 hours, we may start seeing this play out. And the W is 2506 is the what do you call it? The target for the take profit. But here's the thing that's also going to take us outside of this descending line. Let me just get rid of that, right? So that's going to break us out of that descending line. So if we get a breakout here and we get that confirmed, it's possible you could ride this all the way up to the next level of resistance, which is at around 2,900. Significant resistance here at 2,900, and then some more resistance at around 3,500, and then of course we've got the all-time high. So this is a potential trade that you get a good entry, you could ride it all the way to the top and take profit out when we hit key areas and when key areas of resistance, and then when we retrace, you add more to the trade, right? So that you are maximizing how much you can make from the bottom all the way to the top of the trade. Did we talk about that in last week's live stream, that particular strategy?
Yeah, I think we were talking about scaling in and scaling out of trades. I think it was 2 weeks ago we were talking about that. Yeah.
Yeah. So if you want to look at that strategy, go to last week's live stream, and we talk about scaling in and scaling out of trades so that you can maximize the profits in the one trade. But generally speaking, I think we're 95% certain we're moving away from those big drops to the lower numbers that are getting close to a bear market cycle. Would you say 95% or 90 or 80?
No one knows the future, but there are a lot of bullish indicators here. So, I think a lot of people in the market are bullish right now. That said, bullish with a lot of caution.
Yeah.
Because, we're sitting at key support levels across the board here that's, it could potentially go either way.
Yeah. So the bottom line is that Ethereum is leading the market right now. Bitcoin is following Ethereum, which is really the topic of what we wanted to talk about, because we may have to adjust our mindset, because we've been going follow Bitcoin, follow Bitcoin. And as we've been doing that, there have been trades that we've missed out on in ADA, XRP, and Ethereum because they've taken off in the opposite direction because of that mindset. So I think we need to shift our mindset from Bitcoin being the leader to maybe there are moments where Ethereum, XRP, and ADA in particular are decoupling themselves from Bitcoin and having a little bit of independence. And speaking of independence, we talk a lot about Saturn in retrograde right now, and it's in retrograde in Aquarius, and Aquarius is the planet of the sign of independence.
Yeah, isn't that ironic?
So let's look at XRP. Jeffrey, nice to see you again. Oh, hey, Jeffrey. Thanks. Okay, cool. So let's look at XRP on the daily, and we're in a downward channel, which ultimately is bullish because it breaks to the upside more often than it does the downside. But in the meantime, we're getting lower lows and lower highs, and it looks like we're still getting that. I'm not seeing any divergences here on the RSI on the daily. But we're moving into resistance with the EMA to get up here to the top of this channel. So let's have a look and see what's going on the 4-hourly. I love XRP. I think it's great to trade because it trades in channels a lot of the time. Channels and bull flags, right? It loves channels and bull flags, and so that means that there's some kind of I wouldn't call it a certainty or a stability because it's very volatile, but you can definitely trade the bottom to the top and the top to the bottom in terms of longing to the top and shorting to the bottom. So here we are on the 4-hour, and are you seeing any divergences? I'm not seeing any divergences there.
Yeah, it looks pretty solid. RSI's trending pretty much the same.
Oh no, here we go. Look at this. Look. Higher high.
Oh yeah.
And a lower high. There's the divergence.
Yeah, so that one's probably already played out. Right?
This is on the 4-hour.
We saw the big drop down right after
down here. Yeah. And then
the interesting thing though, when you look at that RSI, is we've clearly got a trend lines forming in the RSI, and those can be really interesting to follow because then, when we suddenly break out of those trend lines, sometimes those signal really big moves in the market.
Yeah. So in the 4-hourly, we're above the EMA, so that is looking pretty bullish. Other than the fact that we're in the red Ichimoku cloud, which is there's meeting quite a bit of resistance there. And then let's go to the 1-hour. Yeah, the 1-hour, we're just struggling to get out of the EMA resistance and get above that. But look at this. I would say by 2 o'clock this afternoon, we might see some kind of an explosive move here because we've got a very steep incline. So no trade here right now, but potentially one coming up that you want to look for. And we are on the 1 hour, so we are creating higher lows, right? Which is nice. We're going up in that nice pattern. So is there anything else we want to say about altcoin season? Do we think that there's going to be a second altcoin season? Because there's been quite a lot of talk about that altcoin season is over and now Bitcoin's going to dominate, and we're kind of not seeing that in the charts, are we?
You know, I'm actually thinking altcoin season never started.
Yeah.
You know, like, this, I think a lot of people are talking about this might be a super cycle, like where the bull run just lasts a lot longer and we're just in a significant retracement during this bull run. I think I tend to be in that camp. I really think that's what's going on right now. Too many of the wealthy are buying up Bitcoin for it to end up bullish at this point, right? There's too many whales coming into the market right now. And
for it to end up bullish or bearish.
Sorry, for it to end up bearish. Did I say bullish? My apologies. That's my dyslexia. So yeah, I really think we haven't actually seen the bull run yet. We haven't actually seen altcoin season yet. We've just seen the initial phase of each.
Yeah.
And now we're just seeing, what is a normal market retracement because things heated up too quickly there. And it's, we're going to get back into the cycle here in the next week or two.
Yeah.
And then, I think, we're going to start to see slow build in July and early August. And then, we're going to really start to see the market heat up, come into the fall would be my best guess is what's going on.
Which is when we move out of Saturn retrograde. And if those of you didn't see our video on Saturn retrograde, Saturn's a planet that rules finances and business, and it's also the planet of restriction and slow movement. And so when it is in retrograde, it is transversing the skies, creating a different magnetism of our Earth's energy, which then affects, according to astrology, how humans behave. And we are certainly seeing stunted growth, right? And slow movements wherever it is that we go. We're not seeing those big jolts that we usually see in the bull run, but I think it's coming. One of the good things about XRP, I think, is that it hasn't even reached its all-time high from the previous bull cycle. So there is so much room for this to do amazing things. And we know that the SEC lawsuit, which is going after Ripple for using XRP as a security, we know that there's fatigue on that case now, right? And sooner or later, people are just going to go, you know what? We're not going to wait for the SEC to make up its mind. We're moving forward without you. And I think we're going to see that within the next 6 to maybe 7 or 8 weeks. And we'll talk about more about that.
The case may be resolved in that time frame, in which case, when that gets resolved, I think we could see a pretty big breakout for XRP, because XRP is way undervalued for where it should be, considering the fundamentals on that coin.
Yeah, the fundamentals are absolutely rock solid, and every week there's good news about it, right? And the price is definitely being kept down and manipulated. I mean, my personal belief is the whole SEC lawsuit was a manipulation from the beginning all the way through to the very end anyway. So it's a little bit of old schoolboy stuff going on there. So here we are with ADA, and ADA is another one of those coins that I'm really loving because it's decoupling from Bitcoin, and to some extent it can decouple from Ethereum as well. So it's setting its own course, and it's great to have that in your portfolio. Like Ethereum, we've just got this, well, this does look like a bull flag forming, right? Mm-hmm. Look at that.
Yeah.
So let's just potentially draw. It could be a bull flag. It could be a bull pennant. It might not. It might just be stopping to go for a couple of hour candles and then take off again. We'll have to see. But I'm just going to tentatively draw that there so that we can get an indication of where we might be breaking out. I would probably actually put the breakout here, because the Ichimoku has a pretty steep incline there, and that would take the target to 149. A couple of live streams ago, we talked about what you need to look at in order to enter a trade. So you would want to wait for a breakout, confirm the resistance line as support, and then go back up above the breakout candle with volume, so we know we've got momentum to push the price up and away from your entry point. And also the RSI's got plenty of room for it to continue to go up, so the momentum isn't going to stop. And that's where it's really good to go into the 15-minute and go, have we got any sudden drops in the Ichimoku? That could mean we could reverse. And in this instance, look, we do. So this could be the forming of the bear flag candle, right? We could come down and create the next hourly candle. Then I'd want to go into the 5-minute and go, well, is there one coming up sooner? And on the 5-minute, it looks like at least the next 5 minutes we're going sideways, maybe slightly upwards. And then when I enter, I always come down to the minute to make sure that I'm entering just as we go into an incline of upward motion. So here's this is where I would have entered if I was looking at this here, because we've got slow and steady climb upwards on the Ichimoku green cloud. We are above the EMA, and then we are going up and up and up, and we're pushing away from the entry point there, right? So that's how you want to use the lower time frames. Cool. So what else is on our agenda today?
Well, I think we should give a shout out to some of our favorite YouTubers right now. Nobody learns to trade and learns to be a good trader without lots of mentorship. And there's so many awesome traders in this space now that are being so generous with their knowledge. I'm super excited how many of them have agreed to speak at our upcoming event too. It's going to be a rockin' event. So I think we should give some of them a shout out, like Jeroen van Lange. I've changed my relationship with certain indicators because of things I've learned from him. The Blockchain Today, awesome channel. He's actually not one of the highest following on YouTube because his channel's a little newer, but I think his following is growing faster than a lot of channels just because his technical analysis is so freaking solid. Love Marcel Mass. Just think he's amazing. Like, who are your favorites, Nicola? Let's shout out.
Marcel Money, yeah. Definitely Jeroen. I mean, Jeroen writes for CoinGecko, and he's a technical analysis that we have done some work with. We've actually done some really nice interviews with him on our channel that you can look up. He's going to be speaking at Conscious Crypto conference coming up in October. And we will be releasing the website very soon. We've just got 1 or 2 more speakers that we want to confirm get their photos and their bios onto the website, and then we're ready to go on that. DaVinci J15 is always really great. He has a really good, solid trading strategy, or several trading strategies, depending on what coin you are trading, and also like where you're at in your journey, whether you're in the beginning or towards the end. Like, love his little old lady strategy. We interviewed him, so look up DaVinci J's interview on our channel where he talks about the little old lady strategy. He's going to be diving deep into picking your strategies at the crypto conference coming up, the Conscious Crypto conference coming up. I mean, Carl from the Moon is always one of my favorites because he was the first that I followed, right? And he was going, it hit exactly, right? Exactly. And it's all these people making money, and he was nailing his targets exactly. So I always really enjoy his channel as well. We have reached out to him to speak at the Conscious Crypto event. We're just waiting to hear back from him. Chris from Crypto is another one of our favorites. We actually met Chris and DaVinci J in Tulum, Mexico, when we were there doing a border run not so long ago, which is where the idea of the conference came up. So Marcel Money, as you mentioned as well, and we've got Rand Howell's going to be one of the speakers probably at the event as well. He's a guy from South Africa who has almost 500,000 followers, and a really good community there, helping people understand risk management and strategies. So that's going to be really awesome. Andrew Henderson from Nomad Capitalist, which is all around tax, what do you call it? Go where you treated best is his brand, right? And legal tax.
One of the best ways to make money right out of the gate is don't pay tax, right? Like, so good tax planning, and I don't mean evade paying the taxes that you owe, but good tax structure and good planning is like making an extra 20% on every penny you make right out of the gate, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah, exactly.
So yeah, I think Andrew Henderson's brilliant. I follow everything he puts out on his channel.
Yeah. So the Conscious Crypto event is about YouTubers getting together to give you content and deep dive into content to become more profitable around different strategies, and tax structure is definitely one of the ones that we're going to be looking at. What do you do at the end of the bull run as well with all of your profits? Because some of you are going to be facing huge capital gains taxes, right? We don't know what's going to happen in America, but America's coming after, the IRS is coming after crypto capital gains. So I think it's going to be really important to get this information that we can't actually say on YouTube because of the C word, right? Or the two C words, COVID and deplatforming and all that kind of stuff, right? So that's awesome. So the bottom line for today is, I think, mindset wise, is trade when there's a trade and don't trade when there isn't one. Be patient, and no pattern, no trade is our song, which we sing to Bob Marley's No Woman, No Cry. No pattern, no trade. No pattern, no trade, right? Because we don't want you losing capital right when I think we're about to take off bigly, and you want your capital to be able to, to profit bigly.
Yeah, exactly. Don't get wrecked, as Da Vinci J15 says.
Yeah.
So we're super excited to see all of you at our upcoming conference. It'll be a fundraiser for our conscious community that we're building here in Costa Rica, which is in fact one of the few land developments in the world where you can buy land with Bitcoin. And, I think just the conversation is going to take this to a whole different level, because we'll be able to ask really forthright questions of some of our favorite experts, and get this great straight scoop on some of the details of how they really do it to become one of the 1% of most profitable traders out there.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, some of these guys are making millions daily, we've heard.
Yeah.
So that's it. So until we meet again, next Wednesday, we are changing the time. So you might want to mark it down. We are changing the time to 11:30 for our live stream. We are still uploading tutorial videos every day, teaching you how to do technical analysis, trading strategies, scenario trading, and so on. So be sure to subscribe, hit the bell, click all, so you get notified when we go live and when we upload those videos. And we'd love you to like this one. It's a lot of effort goes into making these videos, and if we see that people like what we're doing, we'll do more of it. If people don't care, then Teresa and I are doing this as a hobby, and we've got 1,001 other things that we could be doing with our time. So we're happy to give this to you and to teach you without charging for it, and in return we would really appreciate you hitting that like button. So until we meet again, trade consciously.
Trade consciously.
Bye, everybody.
Take care.